being made to illustrate how to apply to the 2017-2018 General Endowment Grant if your agency does not currently have a profile on the EC Impact software. To begin, you will need to have the link that is contained in the agency, the guidelines for the endowment. You can copy that link. And put that into your browser. When the screen comes up, you should see that you're at the Community Foundation site, which is shared with the United Way of North Central Mass. Because you have established that your agency is not already registered, you will need to come down here to the new to EC Impact area and click here to create a new EC Impact account. You will need your tax ID number. The tax IDs are not verified. However, they are mandatory. Telling me that I did not put in enough numbers. So I'm going to go back down. Okay, I've been allowed to do that because I did put in my 9 numbers. The agency name. Any of the information that you provide here will help in creating your profile as you continue into the software. Add your website. I'll use the foundation website, an illustration. Under the account information, just a short description about your organization. As well as your mission statement. Your mission statement can be cut and pasted, copied and pasted from another document, or you can add it manually. Next, you'll need to add an address type. Obviously, the first that you enter should be the main address for your organization, even if you have satellite offices or the project you are applying for does not take place at your main office. Some of these items I will be doing because they're mandatory, so in order to illustrate for you, I do have to add those in, and they'll give you an idea of how the software works. Under select the email type, this is where you will want to put the email that is most associated with the agency. That usually will be the executive director's email. It's also recommended that you can put your main email that is on your website when you're looking for information from your website. Otherwise, your own email or the executive director's email. I'm going to use my United Way email. Chrome is going to automatically input my information, but I am not going to be using that information, so I'm going to be going down, clicking, getting rid of the information that populates to add in the correct information for me. The main number, the primary contact information. Primary contact is going to be the person who would receive all the notices for your organization. Generally, that's going to be your executive director or equivalent. And you can add in the prefix. I'm going to add the director's name, middle initial if you'd like, last name, suffix. Company you do not need to put if you do not. The only You may want to put a company here if perhaps you're adding in a board member that is not directly affiliated with your organization. You can add their other affiliation. Otherwise, you can leave that blank, and then you want to give the actual title of the person whose name is going here. Next, you're going to be able to fill in your preferred username. That's going to be the username that you will use to access the account. You can have as many usernames as you'd like on your account. The number that you have depends on how many people will be accessing the account and how many people you want to have access to that login information. We're going to create the login for Sue herself. So we're going to say, I like Sue Jones. You can put in anything that works for you. It does not have to be an email. It can be any type of collection of a username. For your password, you do need to follow the recommendations here. I am going to use one that I always remember, just because it's easy for me to remember. I'm going to add that it is not a strong email, and it's telling me that I did not put an address type. Here, I needed to put Maine. Okay, it's telling me that. I am going to re-enter the email, the password, because I am not sure if that took. Just to be on the safe side. Next. At this point, you will get a screen that's going to open up and tell you your browser may ask you if you wish to save that login. That is completely up to you. I'm going to say never because I am going in under an alias. You will be navigated to a page that should open up and give you a list of the available general endowment grants and, when it is applicable, United Way grants that are open to be applied for. If you are applying for 2 of the areas of the general endowment, one being in organizational development and one other category, you can choose either of the 2 that you're applying with to begin. We'll pick that. I'm going to pick the general endowment and say next. At this point, you're going to be asked to answer qualifying questions. Does your agency currently have a 501c3 status with the IRS? Are you fiscally sponsored by a qualifying entity, or are you a municipality, township, or tax-exempt educational entity? And you want to be able to answer yes. If you answer no, you will be disqualified. And if you believe that is an error, you will need to contact us directly to have that fixed. As required by the IRS, does the agency submit an IRS Form 990 or 990-EZ, or does your fiscal sponsor submit that IRS Form 990, or are you otherwise exempt from that requirement? That would be the municipalities, townships, tax-exempt schools, or there are other certain exemptions. If you can answer yes there, go on that your agency has a non-discrimination policy. If your agency already has a written non-discrimination policy, your answer would be yes. And if you don't, you will need to be able to provide sufficient evidence that you have an established, approved non-discrimination policy, which most organizations do, and we can provide one for you if needed. Answer yes. And you also need to answer whether or not your agency provides services in one of the communities that serves the Community Foundation of North Central Mass. You do not need to be based in one of these communities, but you do need to provide services currently to one of those communities. So you're going to be answering yes, and then continue. I'm going to tell you to click Complete Registration to submit the request and continue to assign a program to the application process. In order to get the full application, you do have to create a program, which is essentially the request that you're doing. So I'm going to make sure that all this information here is correct. I know my logon. I've answered everything there. So I'm now going to go to the bottom and I'm going to say complete my registration. Now that I've completed it, I'll get this message that give me some information on the general endowment, and you'll have you can print your registration summary if you'd like. It's going to again review, and now if you go below, you'll see there's another next, and when you come to that, you're now at the main EC Impact site. Information about your agency is contained here, and there are videos on how to further make changes to your account, to add contacts to your account, and provide other statements about your account. They are listed on our website. We are going to continue with registering and requesting inclusion in the letter of intent process, in this case in the organizational development category. Because you are currently new to the EC Impact area, you will need to create a program to assign to this application. In order to do that, you will click on create a new program or proposal and assign it to this application. If you, down the bottom, you will see that your application has started. You have the cover sheet and the required uploads field, but you do not yet have the field that's going to allow you to create your letter of intent. So from there, you need to create that proposal, and the name that you give it should either be, if it's going to be a program or part of an existing program, the name of that program, or another descriptive name that speaks to the content of your application. So my new mentoring. Mentoring is fun. On the description, I want to give a little bit of description about the program. This will be a description that will follow the program for any reports that are run and applications that include the description. This can be updated at any time. It can be edited, but you want to add it here. Your program is a mentoring program that is fun. You'll obviously want to be more descriptive. This is going to be part of your application. You have up to 1,500 characters, and there is a counter to tell you how many you've used. There are tips on how to navigate within the EC Impact system that include ideas on the best way to be sure that your information is safe and is saved. One of the recommendations is that when you're preparing the application, you do all of your work offline in a Word document or other type of document, and then cut and paste the information into the software. However, if you choose not to do that, it is highly recommended that as you go along, especially if you're having any breaks in between, that you save your information. In the initial registration, you do need to go all the way down and complete it before that information will be saved. So we're going to continue on. Now, this information is asking, okay, who is the primary contact for this proposal? If that, in fact, is myself, Sue Jones, I would click Sue Jones. If it is not Sue, I would add a new item, which is going to bring me to a field that is going to allow me to add information on a new contact. So under that, you can choose the type of contact that is. Perhaps it is a program manager or some other person within your organization, and you can select the email type. That usually will be main, and by main, that refers to being the main email for the person that you're creating. The phone number, the same thing applies. If you do choose to put their cell phone and want that to be known, you would put mobile. Under the address, if the address you're listing for them is a different address than the one that's listed on the main account, you'll want to use a description to tell you what that is. Is it a branch? Is it other? Is it the program location? Whatever fits the best description. And again, those are not of any super importance that you would need to be concerned about the classification, but you do need to choose one. When you're done with that, you would hit Save Contact. And when you come back out, I am going to not add that contact. I'm going to continue as Sue. But if you were to come back out, that person would now be on this drop-down list. So I'm going to click on Sue. And as Sue, I am at the same information that I provided as the primary agency address. If your information for the program to where your proposal is going to take place is different than your primary address, you're going to want to add that here. But in this case, I am going to copy the primary address, which is going to put everything that I put in before into this screen. Now I'm going to put the email address that I want associated with this program, and I have been using my United Way email as that primary email, so I want to be consistent. And under the phone number, again, I'm going to put the main number. In this primary area, you would want to list the phone number that you want used if we were going to try to get contact someone about the status of the application or about the program itself. So if you think that that should be an alternate than the entity's main phone number, make sure that this number reflects who you would like contacted, because our staff would use that information first. When you're done with that, you're going to click Save, Complete Registration. It's going to tell you that you have completed that and gotten this far. It's telling you that the program is, or the proposal name is Mentoring is Fun, and you're asking to participate in the General Endowment Organizational Development Letter of Intent process. There are some links to some information that's provided over here in the Resource Center, the guidelines, as well as additional useful information about a letter of intent. From here, you want to click Complete Registration. And once you get your approval, it's going to say that the responses have been submitted successfully and that you can move on. When you navigate to the bottom of the page, you're going to see Continue. And at this point, when you come back out, you now will see that you have the Mentoring is Fun program. And right now that is pending. As soon as that is received and approved by the staff, you will receive an email and you will see the application form to complete the letter of intent for this program. And this will conclude creating your application. Please check back for other videos on how to complete the application. The only other thing is if you are choosing to apply for a second category, you'll want to come up here to Apply Report and click to view and request inclusion in the open funding process. And you'll now see that you only have 2 remaining because you have already chosen one. And at that point, you're going to click on that. And here, you're going to have to answer the same qualification questions. And again, you're going to continue. Saying that that's been approved. Going to continue. And at this point, You will either need to choose the program that you already created, and you will only want to do that if, in fact, your second request is directly related to your first request. And in this case, they should not be, as an organizational development application would not be contain the same information. The profile for that would not contain the same information as another program. So you will create a new program and assign it to this application. At that time, again, as in the previous screen, you'll see pending in this area. Navigation information for this process is available in other videos. Thank you.